This is the only video you need to heal your anxiety. For years, I was trapped in chronic anxiety and it was physically painful. I always wake up anxious. I didn't feel safe, even though I knew I was not in danger. And I've done CBT, talk therapy, even medication, but nothing really helped me. And then 9 months ago, I went all in. I studied everything I could find about anxiety. Now, being anxious doesn't scare me anymore, and I'm finally able to heal it. So in this video, I'm walking you through a complete anxiety recovery process that I wish I had. You're going to learn what anxiety actually is at the nervous system level, why it is keeping you stuck, why traditional methods never heal you, and the exact process that I use to heal, and then how to deal with setbacks, because trust me, it's going to happen, and additional tools to help you recover faster. I know you probably just want to skip to the solution right now. I understand you're in pain and you want a relief, but doing quick fixes kept me trapped for years. Real healing only happened when I finally understood what was happening in my mind and my body. So take a deep breath and stay with me till the end. This 40 minutes will save you from years of suffering. Let's start with what anxiety really is. Because if you don't understand it properly, you're gonna keep fighting the wrong battle, and that's what I did for years. When you Google anxiety, you get this massive list of symptoms, right? The racing heart, sweating, overthinking, panic attacks, and restlessness. All of these are a jumbled mess of physical and emotional stuff all thrown together, which is nothing wrong with that, but that is not really the definition of anxiety. Anxiety is a thinking process of the mind, and that is it. It is your brain producing warnings, what if, worst case scenarios. And your thoughts are actually painless because your brain has no pain receptor. The reason anxiety hurts so much is because the pain you're feeling isn't coming from your thoughts. It is coming from something else, something that's been running your entire life and you don't even know that exists. And once you understand what that is, everything will start to make sense. Imagine there is pipe leaking in your basement and water is slowly dripping all over the floor. And instead of fixing that pipe, you grab towels, you throw them on the puddle, you soak up the water, and then you wring them out and you repeat the process over and over again. After sometimes you get frustrated. Why do I have to keep doing this? It doesn't make sense. You get angry at the task of cleaning the floor. But then the question is, did the towels cause the leaking water? No, right? The crack in the pipe did. And if you never fix that pipe, the water's gonna keep leaking. Our situation is similar. You have been treating the wrong thing. The towels are your anxious thoughts. The leaking pipe is the alarm stored in your body. The alarm is generating all these anxious thoughts. And I know what you're thinking. What are you even talking about with the Alice alarm? And I'm gonna explain to you. The alarm is a painful sensation that is stored in your body. It is a combination of two things. The first one is fight or flight energy from your sympathetic nervous system that never got shut off, and then unresolved emotional pain from your past that your mind couldn't process. And if you struggle with anxiety, I can pretty much guarantee that you have that alarm in your body. And let me show you where that alarm is. This is an actionable step, so I want you to close your eyes and think about a time when you had a panic attack or when your anxiety was really intense. Where do you feel the physical sensation in your body? You sure did. That's why it was painful, right? For most people, it is somewhere along your midline, from your throat to your stomach, around that line. You know that tight, heavy, bustling feeling like someone is sitting on your chest or someone is choking you, or a knot in your stomach? For me, it is around my chest. And it was insanely painful. It felt like someone was grabbing my heart and poking holes with a needle. And I even went to doctors. I did medical checkups and everything was fine medically. But I was in pain. Only later I realized that pain has nothing to do with medical problems. I am perfectly healthy. But the pain is a stored emotion. That's why it is so painful. So to be clear again, the physical sensation you feel, it's the alarm. And then your worrisome thoughts are your anxiety. I really want you to see them separately, the anxiety and the alarm. And most people, like therapists, doctors, even self-help books, only address the anxious thinking, the mental part, and they completely ignore the physical sensation. Since the pain is coming from the alarm stored in our body, It is a body problem. And you cannot think your way out of a body problem. And I really want you to understand that there is nothing wrong with you. You are not a mess. And you don't have to live with this chronic anxiety for the rest of your life. Now, you might have questions like, where did this alarm come from? Why is it in my body? Is it even make sense? All anxiety is separation anxiety. I know. When I first learned about this, I had the same reaction. I was like, what? It doesn't even make sense. I was anxious about my health, about my relationships, about my work. It has nothing to do with separation, right? But only then, when I really learned about that term, it all made sense. The alarm, or this stored emotion in our body, almost always come from a break in attachment during childhood. It is an experience of separation. When we are separated from our caregivers, whether it is physically or emotionally, our body goes into a state of alarm. It then shifts us into this fight or flight state. The alarm is basically that fight or flight energy that never got turned off. When you are a kid, your brain is still developing. You don't have the mental capacity to process overwhelming experiences the way adults do. So when difficult things happen, like parents fighting, feeling unsafe, getting criticized, or being alone and scared, your young nervous system has a problem. You couldn't process them because you don't have the ability yet. So where do all these intense feelings go? They're too painful, they're too overwhelming. So it spills into your unconscious, and then it got stored in your body. So in the book, The Body Keeps the Score, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk explained this process in details. Basically, your body becomes a warehouse for all these unprocessed emotions. And that is why you can be sitting in a completely safe room. Everything is fine from the outside, but you still feel that painful, panicky feeling because of that stored alarm. Your body is responding to danger signals from years ago. The alarm that never got shut off. So now I want to walk you through the type of childhood experiences that create this alarm. Not because I want you to play victim and blame anyone. No, because you cannot heal what you are not aware. So as I go through this list, just notice which one resonate with you. You might have one, you might have multiple. Just try to be aware of it. The first one is abuse, any physical, emotional, or sexual abuse. And emotional abuse is tricky because there are no proof, there are no bruises. It's like being told you're not good enough, being made you feel like you are the problem, getting constantly criticized, things like that. And the second one is loss. Major losses like death of a parent or siblings. Even in emotionally healthy families, this can be too much for a child to process because, as I've told you before, kids don't have the capacity to process emotion the way adults do. So if that pain didn't get released, it got stored in your body. And the third one is abandonment, both physical and emotional abandonment. Physical abandonment is obvious. Emotional abandonment is a bit tricky because your parents are there physically, but they are emotionally absent. You don't feel any connection with them. That also creates an alarm. That was my experience, and I'll get to that in a minute. And the fourth one is rejection, getting rejected by your friends, families, or getting bullied. If you were that kid who ate lunch alone, who got bullied all the time, who was made fun of all the time, that creates an alarm because rejection to a child feels like being cast out of a tribe, and being cast out means you won't survive. I'm not being dramatic, okay? This is how deep it goes, and most of us don't even realize or notice these things happened. These are like small little things. And the fifth one is maturing too soon. This is when you are forced to grow up when you're not ready, becoming a caregiver for your parents, being the responsible one, being the peacemaker in your family, or experiencing things too early like sex, alcohol, drugs, etc. Anything that puts the burden of an adult to a child creates an alarm. And the last one is shame. And I feel like this is the most common one because it is very subtle and most people don't view this as a trauma. Being shamed for your emotions, for your mistakes, for not being perfect, for being too much or not enough. Your shame says there is fundamentally wrong with you, and that gets internalized and it becomes your identity. So which one of this resonate with you? I want you to go back to your childhood and really think about it. Maybe journal it out if you need to. Did you feel safe expressing your emotion? Did you feel seen? Did you feel loved? Or did you just have to be hyper vigilant? Did you always have to take care of someone, because 9 times out of 10, the reason you got that alarm is because of these 6 scenarios. For me, the relationship with my father was the root cause of my anxiety, although it took me years to understand that. For the record, my father is never abusive or violent, but he is an extremely, extremely anxious person. Being around him felt like living with someone who is always expecting disaster. He is too restless. He is always on edge. He is constantly scanning for danger. He is constantly worrying about something. And because of that, our home never felt like a safe place. And I learned to constantly stay alert, constantly reading his mood. And don't get me wrong, he always provided for me and he always supported me. But his own unhealed, anxious energy created an environment where it didn't feel safe for me as a kid to relax. Even in quiet environments when nothing is going wrong, there was this sense that something could go wrong and something terrible would happen at any time. So I constantly stayed vigilant. I was always on edge as well. When you grow up like that, you lose your boundaries. You lose track of where your parents end and yours begin. Your young mind believes that if I can keep my parents calm, happy, satisfied, then I will be safe. You unconsciously become responsible for your parents' emotional needs because your survival feels like it depends on it. So I diverted all my energy from learning who I was as a person to becoming an expert at reading other people's needs. I unconsciously learned to put everyone else above me, to fulfill their needs first, because only after that I feel okay to relax and I feel safe. And this is why so many anxious people like us are labeled as highly sensitive people or people pleasers. We learn from such a young age that our emotional needs are not important, that we need to take care of other people first. We developed a emotional radar system that never got turned off. You never learn how to self-soothe. You never learn how to regulate your emotion. You never learn how to see the big picture, even when it gets hard. You couldn't take control of your life. You're always at the mercy of whatever is happening around you. You're always on edge. You are extremely reactive. You are constantly trying to control your external environment to feel okay internally. And that is extremely, extremely exhausting. Now you understand where that alarm is. You understand why is it in your body. But that alarm doesn't just sit in your body quietly. It interacted with your mind and it creates a vicious cycle. And that cycle has been running your life. So imagine you're just going on about your day and everything is fine. And then something happened. Maybe you get a text message from someone, a memory pops into your head, or someone said something that triggers you. Suddenly you feel the lump in your throat or a knot in your stomach. That is your alarm activating. Now, most people don't even realize this step. They just know the thoughts that comes after it. The alarm activates a fight or flight state in your body. Your nervous system is saying, danger, we're not safe. And when your body goes into that state, your survival brain takes over and your rational brain or your prefrontal cortex goes offline. And then your mind, being this meaning-making machines, trying to make sense of what is happening. So it starts to produce warnings, what-ifs, and worst-case scenarios. Your brain is trying to protect you by finding threats. But the problem is those worries make the alarm worse. It is like pouring gasoline into the fire. It just makes the fire bigger. And as the alarm gets stronger, you get deeper into survival mode. Your rational brain shut down even more. And when you lose your rational brain, all these worries starts to seem true. Even the most outlandish ones seem inevitable because you don't have access to the part of your brain that could say, wait, this is ridiculous. Why are you even thinking this? This is stupid. Okay, we should not be thinking this. That part of your brain is literally offline. So because of that, it creates more alarm, and that alarm creates more worries, and then that worries creates more alarm. It's a vicious, endless loop, and you are trapped in it. And this is why it feels impossible to escape. You are not just dealing with one problem, you are dealing with two problems that are keeping each other alive. And the more you try to think your way out of it, the worse it gets, because thinking keeps you in your head and your brain is literally in survival mode. So you are trying to use a tool that's been disabled. And because of that, everything you have tried so far had given you temporary relief at best. Everyone tells you, just take a deep breath, just calm down. Nothing pisses me off more than when you're having a full-blown panic attack and they're telling you, just calm down. If I can just calm down, I won't be having that panic attack in the first place. In all seriousness, deep breathing does something. It does shift you from that fight or flight sympathetic state to relax and digest parasympathetic state. It does calm you down, but it doesn't address that alarm in your body. It is useful, but it won't heal your anxiety. It is like bailing out water from a boat in a hole in it. You can keep bailing every single day, but the water is going to keep coming. The next is talk therapy. I've done talk therapy, and it did help me understand my past and help me connect some dots. But talk therapy stays in your head. It is cognitive. It is verbal. You're just using your head and your mouth. It doesn't touch the alarm in your body, so it won't heal your anxiety. Another thing is CBT. CBT teaches you to challenge your thoughts, reframe them, find evidence against them, and it works, okay? But only when your brain is not in survival mode. But when you're in that state of alarm, your brain is offline. So trying to analyze your thoughts in that moment is like trying to have a calm conversation with someone who's having a full-blown panic attack. It just doesn't work. Another popular tool for anxiety recovery is medication. Look, I'm not against it. It is helpful when you have a severe pain. It helps you calm down and kind of numbs you. But again, it doesn't touch your alarm, which is the root cause, so it doesn't heal you. And lastly, pushing through. Some people told me to just push through it. Face your fears. Don't let anxiety win. And I've done that. I forced myself into situations that terrified me. But then all that did was put me into more stress, more alarm, and it just turned out to be a disaster because I was fighting my own nervous system instead of understanding it. The bottom line is, I am not saying any of these methods are useless. They are all incredibly helpful and they all have place in your life, but they only address one side of the problem, either the mental or the body, never both. And that is the main problem because the alarm is in your body and that is the root cause of your problem. I know I'm repeating myself a lot because I really want you to drill that into your mind. We have to start at our alarm. We have to heal our body first. Only then that will lead to healing in our mind. So here's the mental shift that you need to make. Stop trying to think your way out of it and start addressing the alarm. And I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that. It is only 4 steps. When anxiety starts, the first thing you need to do is to pause and locate your alarm. You already know where that alarm is, right? So just pause and locate it. You don't have to do anything yet, just notice it. That simple shift from getting lost in your anxious thoughts to starting to notice what is happening in your body will break the cycle before it even gains momentum. Once you locate the alarm, the second thing you need to do is to ground yourself into the body. So close your eyes and put your hand on that part of your alarm. If you're not sure of your alarm yet, just put it on your chest and slowly breathe into that area. Try to soften that area. Don't try to make that sensation disappear. You are just grounding yourself. You are just breathing and giving space to be there. When you focus on your breath and ground yourself into the body, you are literally shifting yourself from that fight or flight state to rest and digest state. And after you had grounded, ask yourself this question: am I safe in this moment? This will break an unconscious habit, because when you were a kid, when things felt unsafe, your nervous system learned that feeling unsafe is your default mode, but you're not in that situation anymore. When you ask this question, it grounds you into this present reality, and 99% of the time you are safe in this exact moment. You're not in danger. Okay, so you have located the alarm, you have grounded yourself. Now your brain will want to analyze all the anxious thoughts. And this is where step 3 comes in. All these questions like, why is it happening to me? Why am I even thinking about it? I should not be thinking this. All these questions trapped into your head. So instead of analyzing those thoughts, you need to feel the physical sensation. Keep placing the hand on your body part and keep breathing. Feel that physical sensation. Is it uncomfortable? Yes. Is it painful? Yes. It feels scary, but it is not dangerous. So just try your best to be with that sensation for as long as you can. Even 5 to 10 seconds is more than enough, okay? And when you do like that, you will start to notice that all your anxious thoughts doesn't seem scary anymore because you have interrupted that loop. You're not throwing fuel into the fire by staying in your head. You will have all sorts of urges to push that anxiety away. Your mind will create all sorts of scenarios to stop from that moment, to distract yourself, to numb yourself. But stay grounded and keep feeling the sensation. I know this sounds backward. To heal your anxiety, you need to feel it. Does it even make sense? But you are feeling the pain anyway, aren't you? Whether you try to distract yourself, whether you try to numb yourself, whether you try to push it away, it all came back anyway. So why run away? And when you run away from that pain, you become the victim and your brain perceives that as even more danger. So it just doesn't help you. So instead, just stay with that pain and try to feel it. It is not deadly, even though it seems like it. When you consciously breathe and feel that painful sensation, you are signaling your brain that you can handle this discomfort. You are proving to yourself that even though this is uncomfortable, I can handle this. You are no longer a victim to that alarm. You are in control of your life. After that, step 4 is to adjust how you talk to yourself. Because what most of us do whenever we get anxious is making things worse. It is always like, why am I feeling this? I should make this feeling go away. I'm not supposed to be getting this. Why am I so dramatic? I should not be thinking about this. This is weird. This is stupid. Why can't I just be normal? I hate being this way. All of these self-talks are self-abandonment. You are rejecting a part of you that is in pain. And when you reject yourself, the alarm gets louder and you're not just in pain, you are also alone. And as I have told you before, all anxiety is separation anxiety. So instead of fighting, instead of judging yourself for being anxious, say to yourself like, I can handle this. This is painful, but I can feel it. This is uncomfortable, but I can deal with it. I'm not going to abandon myself. The exact words doesn't matter. What matters is to be compassionate with yourself, okay? I know you might think this is cringe. Why should I talk like this? This is too stupid. Imagine there is a child crying in front of you. Would you tell that child, stop crying. Why are you crying, you stupid idiot? No, right? The alarm is basically a younger part of you screaming in pain. So don't do that. So why are you so harsh on yourself? Why are you abandoning yourself? Maybe you have done it because you never know you are doing this. But now you have realized, right? So stop abandoning yourself and be really, really compassionate with yourself and try to connect with yourself. This is where the real healing happens. So stay with that sensation for a few minutes if you can. Keep offering that kindness towards you. Keep breathing and keep feeling it. And when you do that, you will notice that a lot of emotions will come up. You may even want to cry. Don't push it away. Feel it. Cry it. You are processing all that pain that you had. Push it away. You are proving to yourself that you are not abandoning yourself. So just let every single emotion out. And when you approach yourself with this kindness, this compassion, your nervous system gets the message like, okay, I'm not under attack anymore. I'm not alone. Someone is there with me and it's okay to feel relaxed. And you will notice that all that painful sensation will slowly go away and you will feel a lot more calm. So you now have the 4 steps. You know what to do when you're anxious. But I need to be honest with you about one thing. When you follow this process, after you get anxious, it's going to feel very tactical. It's going to be uncomfortable and it's going to feel very unnatural, which is to be expected because you are doing the exact opposite of what you've been doing all this time. All of your life, your brain believes anxiety equals danger and you need to escape. And that made sense because you couldn't handle that uncomfortable feelings and you thought those were deadly, but now you are trying to fix it, you're trying to heal it. So it's going to be really, really unnatural to you. Because of that, I want you to practice that 4 steps, even when you're not anxious. Think of it like learning to swim. You don't just jump into a deep water and expect to be able to swim, right? You practice the skill, you learn it in the shallow water. So by the time you go to the deep water, your body exactly know what to do. The same situation applies to us. So once a day, when you are calm, just set aside 10 minutes and bring your mind to something that make you mildly anxious. It doesn't have to be this full-blown panic attack, just something that gets you a little bit uncomfortable. And when you start to feel that alarm, repeat the 4 step, locate the sensation, ground yourself, feel the sensation and connect yourself. The first few times it will feel forced, but do it anyway. But after you have repeat that process for 3-4 times, it's gonna feel more natural to you. And when you have a really anxious feeling, when you have that full-blown panic, you now know exactly what to do. It will feel more like a reflex than some tactical process that you need to follow. And even then, you will have a lot of resistance come up. That is normal. That is part of the process. And when that resistance show up, I want you to see it at what it is. It is just your ego trying to protect you, because your ego believes that familiar place is safe, even if that familiar place is painful. So it is going to come up with lots of resistance. It is going to come up with so many tactics against you. So I want to show you how to deal with your ego. And when I say ego, I don't mean arrogance or narcissism. As I've told you before, it is just a part of you whose primary job is to keep you safe. Your ego developed when you were a kid. And since you grew up in an unsafe environment, you really needed to be hyper-vigilant to feel safe, but you're not in that environment anymore. Your ego learned that the world is dangerous, people are going to hurt me, so I need to be constantly vigilant to stay safe. Back then it was useful, but you are not in that environment, right? You have agency, you have the ability to handle those uncomfortable sensations. You have the ability to handle uncertainty, but your ego doesn't know that. That is the problem. And especially when you try to heal your anxiety, and when you try to turn towards the pain instead of running away from it, it is going to pull out every tools in its arsenal to stop you. But there are actually 4 main tactics. The first one is judgment. It is a voice that says, you're not doing right. You're still anxious even after repeating this practice. This is going to be another useless tool, so just stop it. That judgment creates a split inside you, okay? It puts one part of you against another part of you. It basically creates a separation. And since separation is our original wound, it is not going to help us. The second tactic is victimhood. It is a voice that says, that's your father's fault, that is your mother's fault. I'm like this because someone hurt me. I'm like this because I get bullied all the time, so that I am broken and there is nothing I can do about it. It is true that something happened outside of your control that puts you into this state of alarm, but that doesn't mean you have to live with it for the rest of your life. When you blame someone, you give control to that person. And when you have that belief, it's like someone else broke me, someone else gave me pain, so someone must save me, someone must come and save me. Realistically, it doesn't work. You have only you, and no one is coming to save you. It is a harsh truth. The third tactic is abandonment. This is a voice that says, this is not going to work. You have done other anxiety healing tactics before. What makes you think this is going to work? Just drop it. This is too painful. We don't need to feel this sensation. Just scroll through your phone. It is also a twisted form of self-protection. Your ego is trying to protect you from feeling that painful sensation, but you're feeling the pain anyway, even when you try to avoid it. It is just doesn't work. And lastly, it is shame. It is a voice that says, I should be over this. I should not be anxious. Look at everyone else's life. They all have their life together, and look at you. You get anxious all the time. What kind of loser are you? Please do not give in to these voices. They're just tactics. All of these 4 tactics have same effect. They create separation within yourself and they stop you from growing. How do we stop all of these thoughts? But the truth is, you cannot stop any of your thoughts. You think thousands of thoughts every single day. Trying to stop thinking the thoughts is just impossible. So what you can do is to recognize them, to see them what they are. And thought is only powerful when you believe in it. All of these 4 tactics are just your ego trying to protect you from growing, and it is not serving you. Your ego have only control over you when you serve these things as truth, as reality. But when you start to see them as what they are, they lose control over you. They're not the truth, they're just patterns. So here's what you should do. So whenever one of these thoughts show up, and they are going to come, they're going to come plenty whenever you repeat those 4 steps, don't try to fight it, don't try to stop it. Just recognize them, just label them. This is judgment, this is victimhood, this is shame, this is abandonment. You're not doing anything, you're just naming it. And when you name those thoughts, you are creating a space between you and your thoughts. And within that tiny bit of space, you can make a different choice. You can fall into the thoughts, you can follow the old patterns, and you can keep stuck. Or you can make a different choice and you can just let the thoughts pass away. That's it. It's simple. It's not easy, but the more you practice this, the easier it will get. And there is one more trick that your ego tries to play you. It's going to be the most difficult one. Your ego is going to convince you that worrying is keeping you safe. Think about it. Why do we worry all the time? Because it feels productive. It feels like we are preparing for danger. It feels like we are protecting ourselves. It feels like we are thinking ahead. You have an unconscious belief that if I worry about all the things that can happen, I can prevent them, or at least I won't be surprised. And when you worry actually happen, your ego is like, see, I told you what we worry about happened in reality, so we need to keep doing it. We need to keep worrying. But it happened like 1 out of 10 times, okay? 9% of the time, what you worry doesn't come true. You might think you can control everything by worrying, but it doesn't give you control. It gives you an illusion of control, and it comes at a massive cost, because every time you spend time worrying, you are feeding your alarm. When you notice yourself, you are in that deep loop of analyzing every single worst case scenario that could happen. Repeat the 4 steps. And finally, the last thing you need to do is to cultivate faith within yourself, because right now you are operating from a fear-based belief system, but we're not going to live with that belief anymore. We're changing our belief. We are changing our reality. A reality where you trust yourself, you believe that you are capable, you believe that you can handle it. And that belief is built through action, through evidence, through showing up for yourself repeatedly until your anxious brain believes, okay, we are safe, we're not in danger. And there are 2 things you can do to build that faith. The first one is gratitude journaling. Every single day, write down at least 3 things that you are grateful for. It doesn't have to be massive things. And it should not be generic like, I'm grateful that I'm alive. So, you can do that, but I want you to be more specific. Look for tiny things that you are grateful for, like, I'm grateful that I have internet connection. I am grateful that I have water to drink. I'm grateful that I have a place to live. Stuff like that. You're training yourself to look for positive things instead of always scanning for danger. Over time, your default setting will change from what could go wrong to what is going right. And the second thing you need to do is to actively collect evidence. Every time you overcome your anxiety attacks by repeating this 4 step, every time you overcome some sort of uncertainty, every time you've overcome some sort of difficulty, note those down. See, nothing happened. We're not in danger. We can handle things. The more evidence you collect like this, the more faith you build in yourself and the more you trust yourself. And as your faith grows, your need for control will diminish. There is another honest truth that I need to tell you. Healing anxiety isn't linear, and anyone who tells you otherwise is lying. You're not going to wake up one day and suddenly feel like, yay, I don't have anxiety anymore. It doesn't work. Healing often feels like you are making progress, and then suddenly you are back where you started. Someday you will feel lighter, you will feel calmer, and everything is okay. Your old anxiety and panic might have come rushing back. when that happens, and it will happen often, don't get discouraged. It doesn't mean what you're doing is wrong. It just means that you are making progress. Just repeat that 4 steps whenever those setbacks happen. And I know you might be wondering how long it will take until you're completely healed. But the truth is, there is no universal timeline. Healing depends on your own unique story, your nervous system, and the amount of painful alarm that you got and how willing you are to sit with those sensations. But what I can tell you is, the more safely you can allow yourself to feel and process those pain, the faster you will heal. But let me be clear, if the pain that you're feeling is extremely unbearable and extremely scary, you don't have to do alone. Work with someone who knows what I'm talking about. Work with someone who knows somatic therapy. The goal isn't to suffer through it. It is to heal in a way that feels safe and sustainable. And before we wrap up, I want to give you some additional tools to help you fasten your healing journey. They aren't required, they aren't necessary. They're just tools that can accelerate your progress. Think of the 4 steps as the deep healing work that you need to do. And the tool that I'm about to share, they are just maintenance tools that can help you regulate your nervous system and keep you calm day to day. The first one is breath works. Your breath is the only tool that you can control to regulate your nervous system. Once you have the ability to control your breath, you control your state of mind. There are tons of breath work out there, but I want to give you 3. The first one is Wim Hof breathing. It first activates your sympathetic system, and then it shifts you into this parasympathetic system. So it just gives you so much calm. And the next one is box breathing, where you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, you exhale for 4 seconds, and then you hold for 4 seconds. And you repeat that process for 4 to 5 minutes. The next one is 4-7-8 breathing, where you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold your breath for 7 seconds, and then you exhale for 8 seconds. That long exhale just calm you down. Just pick one and do it every single day. I can't even put into words on how good you will feel after doing those. So just do it once and you will see the result by yourself. The second tool that you need to do is body movement. The alarm is basically a slow energy, remember? And if that energy doesn't get to move, it becomes stagnant, it becomes toxic. So body movement isn't even optional, it is essential if you are an anxious person. You don't need to run marathons or lift heavy weights to do that, though you can if you want. All you need to do is basic 20 to 30 minutes of body movements every single day. You can run if you want, you can do yoga, you can lift weight, you can swim, you can go for a walk in the nature. Just move your body for 20 to 30 minutes and you will be fine. I want to be clear, both breathwork and movement can help you manage the acute stress to regulate your nervous system, but they won't heal your anxiety. They are just tools. To heal, you need to address the alarm, you need to repeat the 4 steps, you need to feel it. So use breathwork and exercise to stay regulated day to day, and use the 4 steps to heal your deeper wounds. Healing is possible. I am a living proof. And if I can do that, you can do it too. And I really hope this video helped you. And if you have any questions, comment down below, share your story. And if you find it helpful, please consider subscribing. And thank you so much for watching, guys.